Hi, my name is Eric, and thank you for attending my presentation on the generational differences of today's time. Well, our story begins today by learning about the differences between race and the origins behind it, and the cultural differences between this. So, anyways, we will take this story over here by Catherine Adams and Gloria Gaines, Gallants, if I'm saying that right, I'm sorry. But anyways, so as an introduction, a few years ago, Gloria served on the board of directors at her church. She was a baby boomer and the youngest member on the board. And as a boomer, she believed all people, and obviously women included, that they all have the rights to express their own opinions, which makes sense because we're all human, of course. And she is very big to discuss all of this and everything. Of course, it was a past time, so it's not really common for someone to speak out like her, but um, that they should be able to make their own decisions, which, yeah, is reasonable and makes sense. So there was on the other board of directors, you had people who were generations older and that didn't really agree with this. They were uncomfortable and everything. They didn't want her to participate in this because they didn't want her to speak out. So so what I believe is this is like a very like bad case of having to deal with like sexism at that time, and because of her like way of like obviously that she was a woman and everything, it obviously created bad worse issues among everybody, and it was just like, oh, you're a different person, so we're gonna what's it called, not let you speak because you're not a guy. But also she said a lot of things, but if, for one, let's go over the definitions first. So it's important to remember some stuff, and we're going to define a few terms. Let's start with the gender. So the gender refers to the social roles and expectations associated by would be male or female. Obviously, race is a social construct that's used to categorize people based on their physical traits. So obviously, like why you have white people, African Americans, Mexicans, and whatnot. Like I'm brown, so my race is brown. Anyways, it's just like generational stereotypes and assumptions can also be made and stuff. Like if somebody sounds like something, they'll obviously look like that or whatnot. But uh, that will lead into the next case, which is their origins. The origins are also really important because because stereotypes come from that said origin. If it was anything like, for example, I'm Mexican, so my origin is my people would make stuff like tacos or burritos or whatnot. So people believe, oh, he just give them tacos or taco or burrito because that's what people believe. They believe those stuff and doesn't expect that. Hollywood films also portray these people and give them these stereotypes because it's a popular thing among them. But obviously, not everyone likes it. Like, for example, you'll show in Hollywood movies that, for example, black people like fried chicken, and so a bunch of people think that, but it's not the case. It's not. Yeah, not all of them love fried chicken, but anyways, um, let's go to details. So there are four main generations often discussed in the workplace, and it's what's it called? It tends to be disciplined, cautious, hardworking. Boomers between 1946 and 1964 value self-expression, education, and achievements. Oh, sorry. Builders born between 1901 and 1905 tend to be disciplined, cautious, and hardworking. And then boomers between 1946 and 1964 value self-expression, education, and achievements. So essentially, that's Gen X style, if that's right, if I can't really remember that right, but one values one over the other. So you look at that and you think that these people are different. These people are changing, obviously, for and which each generation something new is always going to change. They have to be known for the one generation is going to be known for independency, adaptability, and the other one might be skeptical or might question things a lot. and that's okay. But every generation has to be open-minded and everything. In terms of Gloria's situation, though, um, when she was talking about everything and her generational values, she discussed open conversations, urban participations, but nobody really said anything about it because nobody really thought it was a good idea at that time. Which we learn about these stereotypes because it's important to learn about them. Like we learn that from her conversations and everything that it's not going to be the best idea for her for at the time because people wouldn't agree as much. And she always referred to what's it called to stereotypes and everything like as problematic and that we shouldn't be having a stereotype. So now in these days, we learn about these stereotypes because the influence of how we interpret others' behaviors is something different. It's not, oh, we're just going to assume they're doing this because of this. So if we don't have awareness, we're going to misjudge them and not understand their intentions. And so understanding the stereotypes will help us avoid these misunderstandings, and we can build a stronger community if we learn about each other rather than thinking about each other a certain way. Then the impact of these group communications um, can be positive. Sometimes, however, they can lead to miscommunications or even conflict at most times. But let's turn to the impact of the relationships. So the generational differences can also affect relationships in schools, work, and everyday life, because obviously you still have race and stereotypes that still affect things like that. Because everybody learns from someone about something and they'll believe it. So if we misunderstand these, it can reduce trust and create tension among everybody. But if we understand these people, we can learn and see through others' perspectives that these people aren't who they are, or they're nothing is what it seems like, and we can create stronger relationships and more respect in that community. So the connection here is important because I want to interact with people too, and I want to be able to learn that people aren't who they are. I want to be able to change something within this. I want to learn from people and see through their perspective. However, people also have to do the same thing. People from different generations need to learn and whatnot. Our future generations should have to be still judging people based on their skin color. We have to learn from our character, not them. We have to learn and teach them our character, not our race. So it's important to my audience because everyone who works in a group and builds relationships with others can reduce the conflicts in anything that happens. In today's society, workplaces are more diverse than others, with multiple generations working together. Technology and cultural change continue to widen the differences, making these topics even more relevant to this day. Sorry. In conclusion, though, generational differences and stereotypes shape how we communicate, but if our awareness is strong and we learn from from these people and we learn from ourselves of how to be a better person, we can understand people and lead a stronger relationship in terms of our groups. Thank you.